Good morning, everybody. Steve Itzkowitz, aka Speakeasy Steve of the Living Room Podcast with my video of the week. Then I'll begin this latest video with a little bit of an anecdote coming out of yesterday. My daytime job is as a personal transportation provider. I drive with Uber and Lyft, and I also have a small taxi service for friends and family and senior citizens, taking people where they need to go. The joke I make is that sometimes it feels like I'm in my car more than I'm in my home or in my room here where I'm doing this video from. And yesterday, what was interesting about yesterday is that it was a normal day for the most part, just picking up people, giving them rides, having a good time, listening to music on the radio, sports talk, and checking into the business and political world as well with a couple of podcasts that I listened to. And everything was normal and everything was great. The weather was nice, a little bit of a breeze, keeping the temperature down, and everything seemed to be fine. And then I got a call to pick up a rider from an auto dealership in Corona, the Corona Nissan dealership on Wardlow Road here in Corona. And at one point, the rider was coming out of the facility, and we made eye contact, so I figured it was her. But I was in the way of a pickup truck, and I didn't notice. I was so focused on the rider, waiting for her to come over because I couldn't drive any further from where I was, that I was in that pickup truck's way. And I'm not sure if he honked me a couple times. If he did, it wasn't loud enough for me to hear. And then finally, rather rudely, rather aggressive horn honk, a little bit threatening as well, like, oh. And I was surprised. I'm thinking, and I waved, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get in your way. And I moved and I turned around, and then the rider came, and as she was getting in, apparently the driver was yelling at her and she got defensive about it. And I said, well, yeah, it was a little bit rude. It was a little bit over the top of the honk, but I was in his way. I didn't know it. And so it's kind of my fault. And I tried to relate to her and commiserate with her on her frustration while also acknowledging that I was responsible for what happened in terms of getting in the truck's way, but I did not see it. And the truck driver just aggressively honked his horn so that I would get out of the way, and then yelling at my rider. And like I said, my rider was defensive about it. I tried to take the attitude of, yes, let me comfort her. Everything's okay. Everything's going to be fine. But I agree with what you're saying. It was rude. It was aggressive. It was a little bit threatening. I don't know what his problem is. And then, but you know what? Ultimately, I was in his way. But the thing about that, and it leads to the subject of this video of the week, everyone's going through something. Everyone's fighting some kind of battle, and we may not know what that is. For all I know, the person in the pickup truck who I was interfering with their ability to make a left turn to head out of the lot at Corona Nissan might have had a loss recently, a loss of job, a loss of a relative, a loss of child, or is just having a bad day where nothing is going right. And they feel like they're cursed, they're feeling sorry for themselves, they're frustrated, they're having an out of body experience, or it seems that way. You never know what someone is going through in this environment where there's a lot of divisiveness going on in the political world, in the business world. Everyone is seemingly in survival mode, where the cost of everything is up, and it feels like we can't get a break. It feels like that. And it feels like the only time we're alive is when we're upset about something, or outraged by something, or complaining about something. The joke I sometimes make is that America's pastime isn't baseball, it's not football, it's not shopping, it's not eating, it's complaining about everything. And that's a little bit of lighthearted humor when it comes to that, but on a very serious note, everyone is going through something. Everyone is fighting a battle. And some people going through hell in a handbasket. My past year and a half, has been filled with hell. In the last year and a half, I got an unexpected divorce. I lost my father to death. I published my first book, and then the person who helped me with it set up the account in a way where I didn't have access to where the book was being sold from, so that I could collect my royalties and get sales reports and turn those sales reports into opportunities. It was a constant struggle to get what I needed from the person that helped me get my book out there. And we ultimately had a falling out. And I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not going to go into any further detail than that, but it was a situation where the next book that I write, I'm definitely going to self-publish, so I have the control that I need post-publishing of any book I might write going forward. And also, I got involved in a cryptocurrency opportunity through some friends of mine that turned out bad, where I invested a certain amount of money and now I can't get that money out. And the money that I made on top of the money I invested, I can't get out because it was a big scam that was being ran through a company I'm not going to name here, but I look up a cryptocurrency scam and a man by the name of Stephen Beard, Stephen with a PH, Beard, Professor Stephen Beard. And anyone that offers you an opportunity to join a cryptocurrency network marketing kind of opportunity, run for the hills as fast as you possibly can, because it's not what it seems. As a matter of fact, it's a living nightmare. So in the last year, I've had emotional calamities. I've had financial calamities. I have had mental calamities. My health, my physical health has held up. Thank God I'm a Crohn's disease survivor, diagnosed many years ago, and I've been in remission for 8 years now. Thank God for that. So my physical health has held up well, but my mental health, my emotional health, I've gone through multiple instances of burnout, depression. What's my point? We're all going through something. And the person in the truck yesterday that I was interfering with might be going through something similar as well. Therefore, we want to try to exercise compassion. It's natural for for us to put our swords up and be like, how dare you honk at me the way you did? And you want to honk at him right back. Like, you get right behind him in traffic. And I had that opportunity, by the way. As we're pulling out, the truck is right in front. I could have easily done what he did to me and to my rider, but I didn't. I said, you know what? It's over. Nothing happened. Let's just move on. Let me get this rider to where they need to go. And hopefully she feels better. And I tried to change the subject. And I tried to lower the temperature of the situation overall, because that person might be going through something. Like, we're all going through something. No one's life is perfect. It might be as good as it could possibly be, but it's never perfect. And there's always something, always a loose end, always a struggle or a battle of some kind that everyone is going through every single day. It's just a matter of what that battle is, how many battles there are, and how you feel about it, and where you are in your mind and your heart and your soul. Therefore, what I would implore people in this environment that we're in, that is politically divisive and where people are struggling financially, emotionally, mentally, is for you to make sure that you understand that everyone is going through something. Therefore, if something happens that is below board in your mind or that offends you in any way, try to take the higher road and realize that that person that might have done something that offended you might be going through something, and it might be very, very serious, or might be a combination of calamities that they're dealing with, such as the ones that I listed for you earlier in this video. We need more compassion than ever. We need more communication than ever. We need more understanding and togetherness than ever. And that starts with exercising patience and understanding if something happens to you that is not above board, that might annoy you, that might frustrate you, that might offend you, and you're saying, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe that person's going through something. Far be it for me to react in kind. I'd rather take the higher road, because he or she who takes the higher road always ends up in a better place. Therefore, remember that as you go about your day, understanding that there are things that are going to happen that at times will frustrate you, offend you, and make you want to do something to get even, but that never, ever turns out well for anybody. And with that, that's the Living Room Podcast video of the week with your host, Steve Itzkowitz, aka Speakeasy Steve. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching. Pull up a chair and let's talk.